Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site, and today we're here with Dr. Derald Holtkamp. He is a professor at Iowa State University College of Veterinary Medicine. So thanks for being with us, Dr. Holtkamp.
Glad to be here, Sarah.
Very good. We're here at the AASV conference in Atlanta, and we're just kind of in a conference that you chaired that, kind of broad stroke talked about biosecurity. So can you tell me a little bit about what presenters were talking about today, kind of an overview of our discussion that you chaired today?
Sure. So there's a real sense of urgency about both being prepared to respond to transboundary diseases like PEDV in 2013 and now African swine fever. And of all things, now on the human side, we have COVID-19, which really just serves to drive home the message that we need to do a better job of being prepared, and as an industry to improve biosecurity so that we're not as prone to introductions of PEDV virus, transboundary diseases like PEDV virus and African swine fever. And so the session that we put on today was really about trying to do that better. And so we heard from Paul Sundberg with the Swine Health Information Center about some of the things that the Swine Health Information Center is doing to be prepared for transboundary diseases. We heard from Chelsea Rustin, who talked about a rapid response program that I'm working on with her. She's one of my grad students. And so we've been preparing some standard approaches to conducting outbreak investigations and doing biosecurity risk assessments to help the industry be prepared and to improve biosecurity so that they're less prone. So then we heard from a series of veterinary practitioners. We heard from Jay Miller and Clayton Johnson and Katie Weedle. We heard from Kate Dion, who described some of the things that they're doing as practitioners working in larger production systems. And I can tell you that they are describing things that we would have not heard about 5 years ago. The things they are doing are to conduct investigations, to identify where their vulnerabilities are, where there are gaps in biosecurities, and then trying to prioritize then where they make investments and resources to improve those first is really fascinating. And their approaches to biosecurity, I think, were also very interesting that they introduced to the in the pre-conference seminar. And so one of the themes then here was that the opportunity to learn from our mistakes when outbreaks happen only occurs if we take a rigorous approach to do that, right? We have mistakes, or we make mistakes all the time, but it doesn't guarantee that we're going to learn from them, right? So the ability to go in, spend some time to try to figure out what may have caused each outbreak really pays dividends in the long run, again, to try to identify where the gaps are in biosecurity. And so it's really an approach, I think, that can give you a lot more solid basis for doing a return on investment calculation. And is this going to be a good investment for us in biosecurity, instead of just kind of firing rapidly at everything that we think might potentially make a difference. And so one of the things that I tried to pitch to the audience here today too is we've been working for quite some time on this rapid response program for the Swine Health Information Center, and we think it's a very good program, but we need to probably do a better job of getting some industry buy-in, getting some input from practitioners who will be using it so that we get better industry buy-in. And so I kind of laid out the case today for developing an industry standard for conducting epidemiological investigations of outbreaks, as well as doing proactive biosecurity assessments. Again, and I think if we can develop something that's an industry standard, then as an industry we can get better at learning not only from our own lessons, but we can start to learn from the lessons of others as well. And so I really I have a sense that there is a desire to do that in the industry, and I think we have a good foundation for that in what we've already developed for the rapid response program for the Swine Health Information Center. But what I proposed to do then was to put together some biosecurity peer groups where we can work on trying to improve that foundation that we already have, and get better industry buy-in from veterinarians in the industry as well as producers. So.
And it seemed like the approach that you were talking about really allows the information to be put into a database. When you have consistent content or consistent information, So then you can benchmark things and compare things, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You can't learn from history unless you've got it into a form that you can analyze down the road, right? So it has to be some things that we can database. But I would say this also: you heard lots of stories today, right? Stories that come out of these outbreak investigations, and I think those are important as well, right? To learn, again, learning from each other's mistakes or the lessons that we all gain from doing these outbreak investigations. And so yes, absolutely, there is a need, I think, for a database. We have to set it up so that we can create that database of information that we collect, but the stories are important as well.
And that was certainly kind of an outcome of PEDV, right? Is there was a better standardization across the industry for some of this information. So that was kind of the first step. This is really taking another step in that direction.
Yeah, that's right. In response to PED, the National Pork Board funded some outbreak investigations early on to try to learn how the virus was being transmitted from herd to herd and to try to identify some of the vulnerabilities in our biosecurity. And unfortunately, they were done by different veterinarians or different academics, and they were all done very inconsistently. Each had their own approach. And at the end of it, I was asked to summarize those, and there was just no way to really do that. The information, there's nothing that could be databased. Even the terminology was different, and how they organized the investigations. So there's really no way just to kind of put that all together and say, what are we learning from these? And so that was the sort of the realization of that. I'll say. Frustration and realization that was really inadequate for the task.
Right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, hey, thank you so much for all the information and kind of the overview of, I know it was about 4 or 5 hours of our day today. So
yes.
Yeah, it was really good information, and as you said, this was different types of content than what we've heard here before. Really an open dialogue, I thought.
Yep. Yeah. Nope. And hopefully hear more in the future.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for all the information today, Dr. Holtkamp.
Thank you, sir.